back to another Advent of Code, day 20, part 2. So we'll just get rid of that. So we'll start up our Hack Studio, get that a good size and day 20. So for the first part we basically had a series of numbers, and on every number you had to kind of shift it around that array or list according to what the value is. So 3, you went 3 back, but you always went in the same order that you saw it originally. So that was all that. We used like a linked list or a doubly linked list, and then at the end you basically add up some numbers. Here, part 2, you have to multiply the number by quite a large thing. And what I'm thinking is, because of the way we kind of mutate the nodes as we go, we're going to need like 2 sets of nodes, one for part 1, one for part 2. So this, I might do a bit of refactoring just while I see stuff, because we might need to do stuff here. So here I think we need to basically create all the second nodes. So we want get all the first nodes, basically get all the nodes that we read in, and here we can get the value out and then times it by 81589 153. Yeah, I was right. Fingers were right, mouth wasn't. Right, and what else do we need here? We need last to be nodes 2.last, and here we can do something like this. Value and prib, it can be last, and if last dot, I'm just basically copying the stuff up here, which kind of suggests that we could kind of pass that into a function. But that is alright. And so at the end here we go nodes 2.push, and we push that node. But then at the end we also need to kind of do the same thing we did for the first node, and 2.first and last. Right, last is nodes 2.last, and we basically just need to wrap the beginning and end of the list. Yeah, I think we also need to do that because of our refactor. Basically, I made last the type an optional by not using the square bracket notation, and then here we can use it here because we kind of want last to be optional because we're passing it to the previous. Right, so here we have that, and part 2, yeah, so we'll see if that compiles. So looks like it's compiling. I'm happy with that. So for this, I kind of want to make 2 scopes because I want to do very similar stuff. Go that way, please. And they don't really interoperate on each other. And I also wanted to see whether you could do stuff like this. So here we want to mix it multiple times, 10 times. So for I in 0 to 10, we can mix nodes 2, and 0 equals find 0 of nodes 2, and mute node equals 0, and mute ret equal, yeah, we're going to do the same thing here, so I think we can just copy paste that and then go part 2, because we are still doing the 1000, 3000, 3000s. So this is roughly all that's needed for this. I think, yeah, I think that looks alright. But when I run it, there's a bunch of errors. I think I want to make all these anonymous. Well, really just these last two, because I'm calling them with nodes 2. I mean, what I could do is actually, yeah, hard to know. If I did something like that, then I wouldn't need to make that anonymous, and I wouldn't need to make this anonymous. So that compiles, and theoretically it should run. Now, it won't run quick. The way this is happening is the mix will in turn call move node, and move node will basically, for every thing in its value, it will get the next value, next value, next value. Now, as you can see, it's like just still running. It will take far too long. Like this number that we multiplied by is massive, and like these quite massive numbers, like very big. And like in the actual input, because this is based on the sample input that was like single digits, and the actual input was like 4 digits or something, so quite big. So this mix nodes needs to take into account that it's kind of, it wraps around, so it doesn't actually need to go the whole way. So how I'm going to do that is have like a mod variable, I guess, in R64, and here we can do something like this. Everywhere we use just value, we mod it with mod instead. Here's fine because that's there, but the important ones are these loops. So if we do that loop and this loop, and then here we need to pass in the mod, and I reckon it could just be nodes dot size, maybe -1. We'll find out. Right, and this we can pass as bang I64 because the modulus needs to be signed integer, because it just does. Well, it really needs to be the same type as the thing that we're trying to do. Right, so the example it reckons is 568 something. It doesn't look right. I'm wondering whether this needs to be -1, because you've taken something out of the array as you're shifting along. So I think if we do this, it might be right. If it's not, you can do some more debugging. It's just kind of what I'm thinking. See what happens. So now we get like 162. Yep, 162.317.8306. So that looks about right. And what we can do is actually add that to outputs day 20.example, and add that there. And if we run it against the actual input, we'll probably get a number, and it might be the right number. It might be slow as well, but we'll find out. Yeah, cool, so it got a number 7768531372516. Hopefully those last ones are right. That is the correct answer. Cool. So that is when outputs day20.output, and we can paste that in there. And so now if we run this, it'll just say pass for both, and that's basically day 20 done. Getting close to the end. That's like a little campsite we're in, I guess, and we had a bridge there and another bridge there. It does take a little 14 seconds, but yeah, it gets both in, and we didn't really change too much. Basically divide by mod to speed that up, and make anonymous things just so I can be a bit lazier. In fact, I thought yeah, we don't need to be lazy there. Have something like this and it should still pass. It still compiles, which I think is good enough for a pass for me, and maybe the example input, yeah, does pass. Yeah, so we just do the mod, and yeah, now we are in the main, and so we basically add everything to the main with that magic number, and then we shift down to 2 scopes, and then we do part 2, and easy as pie, and those are the 2 answers. So we can commit that up, and day 20 part 2. And push that up. Might need to do a pull. Yeah, pull rebase, because there's an action on the GitHub that will update the README based on it. Like if we wait a couple of seconds and do a git pull, there should be another commit, even though we just pushed. Might take a bit longer. Oh no. But basically it updates these numbers, I believe. So currently we have 39 stars, so this should go up to 40 stars, and it should also bump up the day, and there we have it. So update badge and update 39 stars to 40 stars and 20 days completed. So that's all for this video. We've finished day